Good morning, everybody. Now, I apologize. I am physically at another high school today, so I wanted to actually record some videos. So Mr. Dan, Mr. Derek, Miss Ashwaya, and Mrs. Stevens can all kind of work through these videos, and I'm going to put them into several pieces and everything, so it makes it a little bit easier just for pacing considerations. But I wish I could be there in class with you, but unfortunately, I am stuck in another school. I'm actually acting as the art teacher at a high school today, so I am in a happy space, but I definitely like to take care of my obligations. So I am going to make some videos and just kind of walk through the checkpoints with you guys to help you out. So I know last class, Mr. Derek got through our 2.2.2. So I want to start with the 2.2.4 variables, go through these checkpoints, and finish all the checkpoints with you so we can actually unlock this information and allow you to get working on the exercises, so you can kind of get to creative tasks with Mr. Dan on Friday. There's not a lot of new inform. Well, there is new information for those of you that are taking this class for the first time, but for those of you that were with us last year, we're just kind of going to be reiterating some things, and then the new information is considered like in this class itself. There's just kind of a little bit of variations to it. Hence, the fact that we're actually talking about variables. So looking here, right here, they have the circle function set up to where we're setting it with a center x, a center y of 200, 200, the radius of 20, and filling it with the preset color of red, and then we have the defining on mouse press x and y. These are parameters here, x and y, and then we're just redoing another circle, right? So like when we run this, we see that the circle is drawn right there in the center, 200, 200, radius of 20, and it's red. Then when we click the button, anywhere we click the button, we actually notice that it will turn blue. So I mean, we can reset it. If I click up here, it turns it blue. Now, what you might not realize is like taking the control key, if we actually take the inspector and kind of go over this, we see that there actually are still two circles there. The red one is just underneath the blue one because we did the blue one next and it overlaps it. We can't actually know the difference because when we're using this on mouse press and we have a x and y value, we're not actually doing anything with it. We're just literally just putting another circle on top of the circle that already exists. So let's go into that first checkpoint. And when you go into the checkpoint, it's going to say, how can we be sure that there are two circles after we click the mouse in that previous example, right? So you can look at all these answers and it's like we can't see the red and blue circles clearly. I mean, we cannot. There's no way to tell, which is not true because the inspector, like I said, whenever we use on mouse press, if we use the control key when we go in there, we can use that inspector by using the control key, and it'll actually let us know. And you see the two colors there, and that means that there's actually two circles there. And it even kind of pops a red up so you can actually see that there's the red one underneath the blue one. So if we say like obviously they're not mixing it to purple, but the inspector does show that one point with two colors. Okay, so if we click that one, submit that, that will let us know. It's just the fact that the red circle is actually being overlapped by the blue one. Okay, so next no matter what, no matter where we push that button and everything, that blue circle is going to overlap the red one. So let's go to this next part right here and actually look at this. And this is kind of a new concept. So here we're actually taking our circle command and we're giving it the values of 200 at the 200 on the center X, 200 is the center Y. So basically, it's right at the center of our screen there, and then we're doing radius of 20, and we're filling it with red. But now, we're actually doing this thing where because we're setting this the circle command equal to C. So basically, we have a variable C that we're actually putting this circle that we're creating inside. Now, if you actually go here to your docs and colors, one thing that you'll actually notice when you actually go to all your different shapes and everything, like let's scroll down to the circle itself. So looking at circle, you see how it actually has this first value is circle X, next value is circle Y, but it has like specific case sensitive ways about it. So circle X, circle Y, radius. You gotta be able to go back and reference this stuff, because anytime we actually want to change certain values to that, it's actually necessary to know what they're actually named. So this 200 that we have here, that's circle X, that next one is circle Y, that one is radius. They actually do have names. So when we actually come here and we set this little setup right here, you'll notice that now if we actually click the button anywhere on the screen on mouse press, it's actually taking that X and Y value and it's taking that circle that's already preset, and since we're setting this circle equal to C, now we can actually change the specific properties of our circle itself, because anytime we press the mouse, it gives us an X and Y value. Let's say we clicked it there, right? And our X is 43, our Y is 34, and it is basically taking that 43 and substituted it in there, and then it's taken that 34 and substituted it right there. So then it basically substitutes those values in there, so it actually moves that circle wherever we actually click the button. And that's kind of how we use that variable property of things to actually change out these specific arguments in this by using the parameters that it's actually created in the on mouse press. Okay, so we're passing those values back out, and we're actually overwriting basically that initial preset value of what we actually did. So if we go in here to this checkpoint, it tells us, okay, which of the 4 cells properly mimics the behavior of the following code. So if we're looking at this code here, notice that it's taking the X value and the Y value, but when we're actually going into the body of this function here, we're taking the X value, but we're always setting the Y value to 0. So if you're thinking about the Y value being 0, that basically means that it's going to be like aligned along the top edge of the screen, right? So let's start this, and we're actually going to look in this. And here in this part of the screen, no matter where we click, it kind of follows. So that doesn't really represent it, because that would be center X, C dot center X equals X, and C dot center Y equals Y, which is not what it should be. And then if we do this one, looking at that is definitely C dot center X equals 0, and then C dot center Y equals whatever value we're clicking in there. So it's not that one. And then if we look at this one, anywhere we click, it still sticks that circle in the center. So it can't be that one either. So let's check this one. Oh, and if we notice, like anywhere we click in this, it is changing the values of x, but it's not changing that value of y. That value of y is still staying at 0 because it's basically a line along the top. So if we select this one and submit, that's going to tell us that we're good to go, and we're on to the next part of this. So now we want to go back into that idea of explaining like the difference between local variables and global variables. So if we remember last year, and this is kind of new information for those of you that are taking this class for the first time, but the term global variable means that it is a value that you've actually set in your Python script to where anywhere in the script itself, anywhere in the program, it's basically utilizing that information. So globally, anywhere in the script itself, it actually uses that information. But when we talk about like a function where we're actually putting values into the so we call it up, we look at the arguments, we call our function and we put values into those arguments. Those values that get passed into as parameters into the body of our function, those are actually local variables, because that information that's happening inside the function itself, it's only happening locally inside that function. So looking at this right here, this script right here that we actually have set up, if you see C equals circle 200, 200, 20, fill equals red, this variable of C, it will anywhere in this, like if we had lines and lines of script and everything, that value of C would be a circle no matter what, but it's global. It's global throughout the whole program. And then if we look at, we're defining on mouse press, and we define on mouse press, we have those X and Y values that are going to actually be pushed in here, but instead of even using the X and Y values, what they've actually done is they've taken the preset variable of C, and then we're changing the property of the fill in this to where we're setting it to blue inside the actual on mouse press, right? So if we look at this checkpoint, we can actually read through this, and it says what variables are local, what variables are global, and then in this previous example, right? So just kind of going back through that explanation, knowing that this preset C is basically not indented. It's going to be global for the whole program. If this had more and more lines of code, even just with this little bit of code. And then these X and Y parameters that are actually being placed into the body of this on mouse press function right here, your X and Y's are what's going to actually be local in the on mouse press itself. So if we look at this, we have to say X and Y are local and C is global. And we're good to go. So that is 2.2.4. That's all finished up. So now let's go on to our mouse release events. And I will pause the video.